Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the long-awaited Dots N Bots Madden League. Thank you for your patience as we took a small break from playing our scheduled games. I appreciate those of you who stuck around and didn't hit that unsubscribe button. We are back and going to cover everything remaining in the regular season, starting with Week 11. Our highlights kick off with the Buccaneers getting a touchdown at the end of the game to seal the victory versus Nick B's LA Rams. Unfortunately, that's the only footage we were able to capture for Week 11. The first game, we are going to look at Jimmy's Falcons getting their butts kicked as the Raiders extend the lead and win that one 25-7. Now we have Tim Simon's Eagles needing a missed field goal to secure their Week 12 victory, and the kick is wide left. Philly walks away very happy about that one. Now we have Eric's Vikings down 4 with a minute left. Kyler throws to his right and it is intercepted. The Panthers take this one back to their house and win the game. Nick B's Rams bounce back from Week 11 and win pretty big in this one, snatching this pick to finish off their matchup. Up next, tied game in New York, Nick Red's Dolphins need the win to keep their playoff hopes alive, and Jordan Love finds a wide open Julio Jones in the end zone to win this one 21-14. Here we have Joe Shoes' Browns winning by a score, running late to drain the clock out, and weasel their way into the end zone with the Kareem Hunt touchdown for another 6 points. George Remac's Titans only down 7 with 3 minutes left need to stop, and the Colts go quick pass to the left, convert with their man, and he is off for the races. That touchdown extends the lead and gives the Colts the W. Last clip of Week 12 shows my Chargers getting a field goal at the 2-minute warning, which helps them get this victory. Over to Week 13, Jimmy's Falcons looking for a stop here on defense and get the pick with running room, taking it to the house for 6. Next highlights, we have Eagles down 7, fire a laser over the middle, which is caught for a game-tying touchdown. Now, Packers with the ball wanting a field goal in regulation. They push the ball upfield, but Denzel Ward had different plans, intercepting this one, turning on the Jets, outrunning some guys, and winning this one for Philadelphia in regulation. What a finish! Quick play in Minnesota shows Kyler scrambling for the first, which will kill the clock, giving them this victory. Now, over to the blowout in the desert where Nick B's Rams are getting spanked, while Cardinals extend the score up to 42 points. We've seen this before in Miami. Dolphins need points to win, drop back, and find Julio, who catches this bullet and takes it to pay dirt, giving his squad the lead. If you stay up to date with Dots N Bots, you've seen this one before. Joey throwing a brutal pick to George, who takes this turnover and field position for a quick 3 points and wins this one for Titans. Back to my Chargers. Tua's in the red zone, up 7 late in the game. His running room is available and he scores this one himself, 6 points. Sticking with LA in Week 14, we have Chili's Chargers up late in the 4th, adding to their lead over Jimmy's Falcons. Up next, we have the Eagles getting a garbage time tutty that does not help them with back-to-back comebacks. They're going to lose this one. Here we have Tampa Bay getting a last-second field goal to send their game into overtime versus Eric's Vikings. Now in overtime, Kyler in shotgun dials up a screen to Matt Breida, who is one of the fastest men in the league, has room and takes this one to the house for the victory. Now in LA's brand new stadium, and Russell Wilson needs points to keep his team in it, rolls to the right, sees a man at the sideline, and Madden decides to do Madden stuff, and he's it nowhere near the sideline guy for the interception, ruining the chance LA had at a comeback on their drive right there. Miami Dolphins now on the screen once again, needing a score. Jordan Love buying time with his feet, looks ready to take off, is running for the first, doesn't slide, which guarantees a Madden fumble, giving the ball and the victory to Kansas City. Now over to Joe Shoes, who adds to his big lead against division rival, giving his squad a much-needed victory. Last highlights of Week 14, it's the Titans needing a stop once again, but Jacksonville hands it to Dalvin Cook, who evades a tackler, 2 hands on the ball, runs freely, giving his team a victory over Georgia's Titans. Now over to Week 15, where don't ask me how, but I have 0 footage, which is a downer I have to add to by saying I don't have any footage for Week 16 or 17 either. I know, my bad, sorry guys. Let's fast forward through the boring results and get to the fun stuff, which is the end of the year standings. Let's get this party started in the AFC, where I'd like to bring your attention to the East, where Nick Red's Dolphins went from the basement of the division all the way to the top in the second half of the season. What a phenomenal turnaround. Nick and myself, Chili Chill, were the only two Dot owners to take home division titles in their respective divisions. As you can see, with George in the South being in last place with the Titans, and Joey's Browns also in last place in the AFC North. Over to the NFC, we have two Dot owners who are close to sitting atop their divisions with the same records as the leaders, but due to tiebreakers, Nick's Rams and Eric's Vikings both come in second place in their divisions. Speaking of second place, Philadelphia, who at one point held the lead in the East, got overtaken by the Cowboys, but still finished with a double-digit winning season. And lastly, for the Dot owners is Jimmy Red of the Falcons, who only managed 3 wins during this rough quarterback swapping season for them. Before I show you a playoff picture so we can see just how many of these 9-7 teams actually made the playoffs, let's take a stroll over to the stats so we can see who the regular season league leaders were. First things first, we are going to look at the passing leaders, starting with the vet in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, who led the league with 4,529 passing yards. In the touchdowns department, we have Eric D's quarterback Kyler Murray, who threw for 38 tutties. Speaking of 38 touchdowns, Baker Mayfield also tied that mark, but added to it with his league best 117.18 QBR. Great year for the quarterbacks. Now over to the rushing leaders. Did I say leaders? My goodness, I guess I meant leader. Ezekiel Elliott absolutely dominated this season, leading the league in 3 of the major categories. His 6.2 yard average racked him up 1,579 yards, with 16 touchdowns as a cherry on top. That's a heck of a season in a pass-dominant league. Up next, we have another duplicate winner with Julio Jones taking the yards and touchdowns lead all to himself, piling up 1,490 yards and 16 touchdowns, which is no surprise after seeing all of the highlights from him this season. He wasn't able to grab all 3 spots like Elliott this season because Mike Williams had himself a year as well, coming up just 1 catch short of 100 on the year. Last category, we have defensive leaders, where Bobby Wagner led the league with 122 tackles. Ryan Kerrigan, who we haven't yet seen in the leaders department, shows up big at the end of the season, finishing with 16 sacks on the year. And as far as interceptions go, nobody is shocked All-Pro corner Jalen Ramsey snagged 8 balls out of the air this season. We now know who all the major leaders in stats were, but we were going to have to wait to see who takes home the individual awards like MVP and Defensive Player of the Year until after our playoffs. Speaking of playoffs, let's head over and take a look at our playoff picture heading into the next episode. Before we talk about specific matchups, we're going to cover each Dot owner specifically and see why they did or did not get a playoff spot, starting with Jimmy Red's Falcons, whose 3-13 record didn't make the cut. Up next, we have Eric D's Vikings, who 9-7 finish had them as the only 9-7 team in the NFC to not make the playoffs out of 5, so they are out. On to Nick B's Rams, who similar to Eric finished with the same record as his division leader, which has him coming up just short of a playoff spot. And the only Dot-owned team in the NFC to make the playoffs were Tim Simon's Philadelphia Eagles, who finished with a 10-6 record, good enough for the wild card. Now for the AFC Dot-owned teams, we have Georgia's Titans, who earned themselves second overall pick in the draft, finishing with a 3-13 record but did not earn a playoff spot. The Cleveland Browns, owned by Joe Shoes, didn't finish much better, having only a 5-11 record on the year, also missing the playoffs. Here's Nick Red of the Miami Dolphins, who took his team from worst to first in this division, giving himself a playoff berth. And lastly, it's myself, Chili Chill of the Chargers, who finished with a league best 14-2 record and was the only Dot owner to earn themselves a first round bye. Now on to the matchups. It's Ezekiel Elliott, who ran wild this year in Houston, taking on the Denver Broncos. Nick's Dolphins going for a Florida matchup versus the Jags, and the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the New York Jets to finish out the AFC. Over in the NFC, it's the Green Bay Packers taking on the Dallas Cowboys, the third-ranked Saints going against the Washington football team, and Tim Simon's Eagles taking on the other birds who fly in Seattle. Let the games begin. Stay tuned for our next episode, which will cover all of the playoffs leading up to the Super Bowl. Seriously, thank you so much to those of you who are commenting and asking when the next D&B episode was coming out. I really appreciate you guys being excited for new content and for subscribing to the channel. Speaking of, if you don't already, please sub to the channel. I post highly edited and detailed videos revolving around Madden. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and sub. Until next time, catch you guys later.